Hello, everyone, and welcome back to your favorite baseball talk show, Touching All Bases, where we cover all the bases of baseball from college to the minor leagues and, of course, the MLB. Once again, we are sadly without our lovely host, Maura, but don't worry. She said, and I quote, "I swear on everything, I will be there next week. It's a priority." But for now, you are stuck with me as your host and panelist.
Did you say that last week as well?
Yeah.
No, she didn't promise anything.
Wow.
I'm Katie Pfeffer, joined alongside Kaden Hughes, Riley Morgan, Drew Landon, and Jackson Cash. In this week's episode, we will discuss the latest offseason free agency and trade rumors, Clemson's historical exhibition game against the Savannah Bananas, and even our prediction for the end of the season awards that will be announced November 18th through 21st. So without further ado, let's step up and kick things off with a brand new segment, Recent Rumor Rundown, where each of our panelists give a quick rundown on recent rumors regarding different free agents and players around the league. But before we get to the rumors, I'm going to give y'all a quick rundown on some recent signings. So first, Austin Hedges just re-signed with the Guardians on a one-year deal, and then TJ McFarland also re-signed with the A's on a one-year deal, and then we had two new signings for the Angels. Kyle Hendricks signed a one-year deal with the Angels, and Travis d'Arnaud left the Braves to sign a two-year deal with the Angels.
Angels are looking like the new look Braves. They're getting everyone. They got Soler. They got d'Arnaud.
They literally took our third base coach as well.
Yeah, they have Ron Washington. Didn't they get like another coach of ours? Like they're just they are. They're trying to be the American League Braves.
I mean,
But
our Strat won a World Series, so.
what I have to say is why the Braves can't pay $12 million for a catcher that is a leader in our clubhouse who is with us in the World Series. Everyone loves him. He's such a good guy. He's a good player. And he was a great backup for Sean Murphy. Now Sean Murphy is just our actual catcher, and I'm so mad about that because he's not a good catcher. And then we have behind him a bunch of minor leaguers. So,
with Sean Murphy too, the injury bug has gotten him the past few seasons, and even that. d'Arnaud was clutch when it came to those moments.
I love
and that is
d'Arnaud.
something that the Braves need.
I still hope that he comes back. I hope he retires and comes back as a Braves coach. Like whenever Snit retires, I want him to take over.
Honestly, could pull a Jesse Chavez.
It can happen. It can happen. It can.
Well, now on to the rumors and something that will hopefully make Riley a bit happier. Riley, what is the latest on Charlie Morton?
Oh, God.
Well, the only thing that would make me happier is if he doesn't re-sign with us. But Charlie Morton has been flirting with retirement for years now. He's been on the record saying that he wants to spend time with family. But he's come out recently saying that he's willing to play another season for some reason. I don't know why. He's 41 years old. And the expectation is he'll sign a one-year deal with a contender, but he wants to stay around his family home in Florida. So that limits to the Braves, Rays, and Marlins. And the only contender out of that three are the Braves. So I unfortunately see us re-signing. He posted a 4.19 ERA and 165 innings with an 8-10 record for the Braves last season. I don't like him. Didn't like that. We brought him back last year on a one-year, $20 million deal. Don't know why. Not worth $20 million. Personally, I don't want him back. The only reason I would want him back is if we sign a big name, and then he acts as like a 5 for us, like just a back of the end rotation. Like if we need him, throw him out there.
He should be that fifth guy in the rotation,
yeah,
not top 3,
like,
which is
not
probably
top
what
3.
he's going to be.
He was probably a 4 last season. I need to see if he's going to be back. I want him in a 5, fighting out with the rookies and the young guys for the 5 spot. But I could never really trust him in our games. I was always nervous with him.
I don't think you could when you're constantly signing him to a one-year deal because you think, oh, he's going to fade off this season. You can't keep him for too long. So even the Braves don't trust him that much.
I mean, I really do see us getting a starter. I've heard our name attached with Nathan Eovaldi. I would love him alongside Sale, Strider, Schwellenbach, Lopez, and Eovaldi or someone else. That's a 5-man rotation. I'm good with that. We don't need Morton.
Well, thank you, Riley, for that update on Charlie Morton. Now, Kaden, what is the latest on Alex Bregman?
I don't have as much to say as Riley does, but he did agree to move to second base, which is cool. That opens the door for more teams. Obviously, that's not great for you because it opens the door for more teams and opportunities and stuff. But even with that, I think it's weird he said that. I think it fits his vibe as like a team player and stuff. But again, his whole team player thing, I don't see him leaving the Astros. We talked about this all last week. I mean, from everything I was looking at, it's still pretty like widespread because he's not showing much interest in any other team. So people are just kind of guessing. I'm linking him to the Yankees, Mets, Blue Jays, and I've seen enough national stuff to put it on the list. But I'd be shocked if he goes anywhere with the Astros.
I said last week I see him at the Yankees. I could see him going to the Yankees because it does fit with him.
I sent you the Instagram post of him in the Yankees.
Yes, I know.
He's going to a contender or he's going back to the Astros.
Yeah.
Not Nationals or Blue Jays. Yeah.
Nationals.
Nationals. Well, personally, I do not see a reason for him to move to second base, given that the Astros already have one of the best second basemen of all time in Jose Altuve, and he is obviously an Astro for life. But moving on, Jackson, what is the update on the most notable free agent this offseason, Juan Soto?
Okay, so I think Soto is definitely the most sought-after free agent this offseason. And he has got a lot of big teams going after him, a lot of smaller ones, and some that are kind of in the hunt but not really going to get any close. The biggest contender for Soto this offseason has been the Mets. As a matter of fact, he is meeting with the Mets owner, Steve Cohen, in LA this week, and recently it was spotted that Lindor is in LA trying to coerce him into signing with the Mets. As a matter of fact, someone from ESPN put out he is giving a hand and he is taking a role in recruiting Soto. So Lindor is trying to get. So Lindor is definitely trying to make a push for Soto. The Blue Jays have also made a tad bit of a push, but I would kind of count them out because they are known to blow big deals multiple times. I mean, they almost got Ohtani last year, blew it again. And then a kind of team that kind of come out of nowhere, but could honestly be a good fit with what a lot of reports say, the Red Sox. The team is eyeing Corbin Burns and Blake Snell. If the Red Sox do not get those guys, I don't think Soto would sign there. But the Red Sox could possibly be building a super team with a good rotation. They get Soto. They make them possibly a contender in the AL East, is it, I think? Yeah. So
AL's wide open.
So definitely if the Red Sox are able to get Burns and Snell, I think that could be trade bait for Soto to make a journey to the Red Sox. And one that came out of nowhere is the Giants, but they're probably the team that are probably the least likely to get them. They haven't made a lot of moves to go after him. As a matter of fact, out of all the teams that are going after Soto, they're the one team that has not had an official meeting yet or one planned. And actually, fun fact, they're more interested in Hae-Sung Kim from the Padres. So I think that's kind of an odd pick, but it seems like right now with how that rotation is and how that entire team is, they're more likely to get a smaller name because I don't think Soto's going to go to the Giants because the upside's not looking great for them. So out of all these teams, I think the Mets will take him because they are giving a big push to get Soto, and they just finished off the season in the NLCS, so they're definitely a team with a lot of upside. So if anyone picks up Soto, it'll be the Mets.
Yeah, I think that's very interesting insight. I think Juan Soto is quite the exciting case, and I'm very excited to see where he ends up. Moving on, Drew, what is the latest on Max Fried?
Max Fried.
I'm so nervous. I gotta hear.
I'm going to be speaking more about the Red Sox because on November 6th, MLB insider John Heyman said that Fried would fit the best at the Red Sox. Reasonably so because they do not currently have a single ace on their roster. 30-year-old lefty in Fenway Park, I believe, is the right move for the Boston Red Sox as they don't currently have any on their roster. Another team that's in the mix are the Cubs. They're fully in on Fried. Fits the price range of what the Chicago Cubs are going for. The underdog picks for Max Fried would also be the Orioles and the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays are always in the market for a top player, and most of them end up not going to the Sky Dome. And bringing Fried in, however, would give them arguably the best rotation in the AL and would provide stability for the future since Bassett and Gausman are free agents over the next 2 years. And Baltimore as well, if they end up not re-signing Corbin Burns, Max Fried could very well find himself in an Oriole uniform with an upgraded contract as opposed to what he was given for the Braves, while still keeping it cheaper than what Burns would be. Would also leave room for the Orioles to sign other free agents as well.
Well, and last but not least, the Phillies are reportedly looking to shake up their team. Want to elaborate, Riley?
Yeah, I think this is absolutely hilarious that they're thinking about trading Alec Boehm right now. I mean, I'd love for them to do so because it will make their team worse.
Please do.
It'll make their team worse if they trade Boehm. I mean, He's been one of their best run-producing players. He had 97 RBIs in 2023 and 2024. The Phillies don't have a backup third baseman, so unless they want to go to Brett Beatty, who has not proved himself. That also opens the door for signing Bregman. But even if they do sign Bregman, I don't see that moving the needle for them. Like, Bregman, I'm sorry, doesn't really scare me. I mean, Alec Boehm, I would say, is a bit better. He's also a fan favorite in Philadelphia, so I don't see that going over well in Philadelphia. They didn't change anything with last offseason. They rolled with the same team, and it still allowed them to make it. They're one of the best teams in the league with the same roster. So, I mean, they're also thinking about trading Castellanos, which I don't know. He wasn't good in the regular season, but he's really been their only bat in the last 2 postseasons. Like, he was good in the last 2 postseasons. Yeah, if they want to shake up the team, I wouldn't recommend trading actual good players like Boehm. I would trade someone like maybe a Stott, Marsh, some relievers, Hayes. But I don't know. This shaking up the team, trading Boehm rumor, I think it's really stupid. But do it. Please do it. Go right ahead.
I have a question for y'all about Boehm. So he made his first All-Star team in 2024, and then we kind of saw his numbers dip after that. It was not as great in the postseason and not as great in the second half of the season. And we also saw him, going on the IL with a wrist injury. Do you think that there could possibly be some underlying thing that only the Phillies know about while they're trying to trade him now?
Maybe he's too hurt. There's a hurt some kind of.
He was in Game 2 of the National Divisional Series, but I just think they said that they wanted a different energy, and then they put in. I don't know who they put in, but I don't think there's anything injury-wise going on with him. He has always had an attitude problem. You see him striking out, slamming his bat in the dugout. You saw him 2 years ago saying, "I effing hate this place," in Philadelphia on their field. That did not go over well with the fans, but he's made up since then. But
fits the Phillies culture.
Yeah. Injury-wise, I don't see anything wrong with him.
I would definitely say that this injury should not worry Phillies fans at all. This goes back to something that I have said countless times, and I will still continue to believe. There is always a second half to the season. Guy can be great for the All-Star break, and then after that, numbers dip down.
Sean Murphy.
So, yeah, Sean Murphy. I mean, you can name plenty of times it's happened. Obviously, with an injury, obviously it's going to, derail your play just a tad bit. But honestly, he's one of the shining parts of that team and one of the biggest reasons why they constantly get how far they get. And not just that, he is clutch when it comes to that. He's almost on the same level as Bryce Harper sometimes. So I think to get rid of one of your younger guys in terms for Bregman, like you said earlier, for an older guy who's probably got maybe 3-5 years left, keeping Boehm would be better for the long run. Bregman, even with his numbers right now, I don't think that would be enough to put them over the edge to win a World Series.
And it's costing them unnecessary money. Signing him would cost a lot for them. Otherwise you just
keeping Boehm is your smartest decision. You cannot get rid of a young player like that who's done so much for the team, and he's just a good player. Let's just be real for what he is. He's very good baseball player, so they definitely need to keep him if they want to make it to that World Series. Getting rid of him just because he had a slump in the second half of the season, yet again, he had an injury, so numbers are not going to be the same as they were beforehand. So I think for them to be freaking out over an injury right now and saying, "Oh yeah, we might want to get rid of him," I think that is insanely stupid. I think they're just overreacting this and they're blowing it way out of proportion.
You think something might have happened before Game 2, just attitude-wise, maybe behind the scenes in the locker room that caused him to be benched, and ultimately we do not want him on the team anymore?
Do y'all ever watch Survivor? Y'all ever watch Survivor? Yeah, you watch Survivor? Mm-hmm. So sometimes you watch an episode and everyone hates a guy and you're like, why does everyone hate this guy? And one of my friends told me one time, he was like, you got to think, you're watching the cut up highlights of this. People are spending 24 hours a day with this person. I think that could be the case there. We're watching the games and stuff. We're watching him play and we're like, he hits the ball pretty good. They shouldn't get rid of him. But if you're seeing maybe the injuries, maybe they're watching him swing the bat and they're looking at his wrist and this guy's not the same. Or maybe it's just an attitude thing and he's just a pill to play with and the locker room's messed up. Maybe that came at the detriment of the Phillies postseason. I'm not saying that's the case, but them wanting to trade him does make that a theory, I think. So I don't know, but I think that's absolutely in play.
I think he was just absolute pure trash this postseason, though. So they were like, okay, maybe let's try someone else.
That's also possible.
He
Yeah.
was bad. He wasn't
was awful
great.
this
If
postseason.
you want to solve a problem, you try to fix it. Didn't work well. I don't think that's any case to get rid of him. I really don't.
Yeah. And like, to be fair, yeah, he was not great this postseason. He went 1 for 13, I believe. But still, that's only, 13 at-bats, maybe some walks in there. That's not, that much to go off of. And I think if they're like, oh, we're trading him because of that, that's just jumping the gun. That's
I think what
very
you could,
dramatic.
I think what you could say for this is the Phillies are panicking because they've gotten so close for 3 straight years, and they still haven't won that title. I think right now, I mean, after 3 years of trying, you finally get first place, and then you lose in the divisional.
Right.
They're panicking.
That's
what
irrational,
the Phillies are
They're
doing.
also
I agree.
panicking because they see the Mets, who beat them in that series, they see the Mets climbing up.
They might get Juan Soto. Like, I mean, yeah, that's not just climbing up. That's
they're
just
climbing up the ladder. They're sneaking
Yeah.
up behind Philly, and the Phillies are like, we need to do something.
The Mets getting Soto is probably what is driving the Phillies to try to figure something out
Honestly,
because they're worried that the Mets are probably going to be top in the division next year if they get Soto.
the Mets getting Soto and us not paying players feels so like the beginning of the end. But like whatever, that's I don't want to talk about that yet.
Another view on it could be like he's so like they can't handle him in the locker room at all, so like they want to get rid of him.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
It
exactly.
could definitely be an
could
attitude
be
problem.
Yeah, something that like fans can't even see. It's something that
Like, I don't know,
you
because
have to be in the organization.
I don't know.
You would never know that though, for sure.
on
Yeah, but it
Twitter,
could be.
like after every win, they have something called like the babysitters or whatever, like where it's like this group of guys. It's like Marsh, Stott, Bohm, like a group of players, and they always like they get interviewed and then they pour water over each other every single win. So like I feel like they have a bond. I don't think it's a locker room.
I mean,
issue.
Shaq and Kobe looked like they had a nice bond on the court too. Like you can hide it, I mean, like yeah. I don't know.
I think even that, guys that even have like a big attitude problem, if they're putting out good numbers, the teams don't get rid of them. If they're winning for them, they're not going to get rid of them just because of a bad attitude. Now, if that affects the whole team and the rest of the team starts being bad, then they're going to take notice of that. But clearly with the Phillies, that is not the case.
But yeah, I think that's what I was talking about with the Survivor thing. But we can yeah. We'll talk for a minute about
All
this. I
right,
feel like-
now
Yeah.
we will move on to one of our tried and true segments, 3 to See. If you have been with us for a while, you know that this is where we highlight the 3 exciting and important moments from around baseball. Last week, we previewed the Savannah Bananas versus Clemson game, and now that this historical game has taken place, we are going to discuss our favorite moments.
I don't have much to say about this, but did y'all see our viral dance? On
Yeah, the
TikTok?
quadruple backflip, man.
Yes,
I saw
yeah,
that.
it's
That was
like
sick.
3 million likes on TikTok. Like, it really like put Clemson on the radar, like just like entertainment wise.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah,
Sick.
and even going beyond just putting Clemson on the radar entertainment-wise, I think it also puts Clemson on the radar maybe like recruitment-wise. And I think even some players and the head coach came out after the game and was saying that their shortstop, Andrew, I'm going to mess this up, Cufo, said, I'm sure there are recruits that are being recruited by Clemson that are either super bought into this, and this will just make them want to come here even more. So do you think that, Clemson being involved in the Savannah Bananas is going to help bring some higher level players?
I think
Absolutely.
I think
Sure.
absolutely for sure. Because
Yeah.
with nowadays players, it's kind of like yes, I want to go to a good program, but I also want to go to one that's going to be like interesting or fun or gonna shine me in a good light. And obviously playing the Savannah Bananas is obviously going to get you a lot of looks. And so definitely a lot. I mean, scouts probably watch that game because it's the Bananas. Like they're looking for everything they can. So I think recruits are definitely going to take notice of this because obviously banana ball is a huge thing for people our age, kids younger than us. So yeah, absolutely massive for recruiting. I
And
think.
also, some of the banana players, they eventually go on to play in the minor leagues for MLB. So if some of the banana players are like, ooh, that Clemson guy, he has what it takes to have fun like this, and then he goes and plays with the Savannah Bananas, and then he shines, and then he makes it to the minor leagues that way, taking
Oh, that'd be
that
the
path.
that's the most fun
That
path
could
ever
act-
to pro
that could
baseball.
also happen. So
Yeah.
that's
I'd take
also
that path.
Yeah,
also
Clemson,
good.
Bananas, Major League Baseball.
Exactly. That's good for our players too.
Yeah.
I love talking about its impact on Clemson. The impact it has, this game had some impact on the Bananas too, because it was the first time they played a college team, and I love how we kind of set the tone, because no one knew how the college team was going to play the Bananas. Like, you didn't know if it was going to be like a normal game from them and then the Bananas would do all their trick shots, or if they'd match the weird energy and stuff. I feel like, we had that behind the back pop-up and stuff. We did our dance. Our coach ripped his shirt off before the game. Like, we really embraced everything, and I feel like we kind of set the tone that, like, when the Bananas play a serious team, that team is expected to also perform. And I think that's going to be like I said, we set the precedent for how it's going to be for the future, and I think that's really cool.
If we were the first ones to do it, then we're going to be the ones that are saying, like, hey, this can happen. You guys can do it. It's great.
The next college team's going to look at how we played and be like, we just got to do that, and we'll set the example.
This will be also a huge morale boost for the Tigers as well, especially heading into the season, because we had the regional last year and got decimated.
We needed that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we did. That team needs a big morale boost.
No. Did you all know that Clemson 2 times a month in practice they play banana ball?
Really?
Yeah.
That's
before playing Savannah? Or
No,
now they
since
do it?
2022.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's sick.
They've
I
done
didn't know that. That's
I know,
awesome.
when I was reading one of the articles about it, I read
That's
that,
why
and I was
they're
like,
so
that's
good.
fun. Yeah, I mean,
is
they're
fun.
No, we
basically
lost.
Yeah, they killed
most
it.
of that banana balls this time.
I mean,
Yeah.
Did we have 2 trick players or just one?
We had the behind the back catch.
That's
Yeah.
I think that's the only one.
I think
Yeah.
they tried another one, but it didn't count.
Ah.
That would make sense.
Yeah, we're not as good at that.
Yes. Well, next, the devastating Hurricane Milton that went through Tampa Bay damaged the Rays' Tropicana Field, and it will reportedly not be ready until the 2026 season.
I have heard this from a lot of Rays fans. I know a lot of, especially fans of the Rays. They have one of the lowest attendance in MLB every single year, year in
That
out.
place is trash.
It's awful.
That
It's
place
a bad.
is a wasteland.
It is a stadium that honestly should have been torn down a hot minute ago. It's been open since 1990, and it's got big damage with the hurricane. So that stadium is not. You're not gonna be able to get that stadium back. You're
And
gonna have to
also-
build something new.
They also have plans to build a new stadium in 2028. So
Right.
is it even worth it rebuilding?
No,
the
it's like
Just do it now.
it's something like $55 million.
Yeah, and
know.
that's taking away from like free agent signings. Like I guess no more
Yeah.
Soto.
Well,
That
actually, a
was
lot of I think a lot of the
their
money-
little Soto thing.
a lot of I think I'm not exactly.
Yeah, they would have
sure how it
signed Soto
works.
100%,
Yes,
but because of the
but
field, they
without the
aren't going
hurricane,
to.
Soto would be a Ray.
100%. I was right, actually, but then the hurricane happened.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure how it
Hey.
works, but I believe that like
No.
the city of Tampa Bay, or I don't think they're like fully in Tampa Bay, but whatever city they're actually in actually has to pay for the stadium.
Yeah, they're
And
paying
so-
they're paying the
Well,
Yankees
yeah,
for
as of today,
their
they're in
field.
the Yankee Stadium.
Mhm.
Right,
And the Yankees
yeah.
Spring training.
Yankees got 15 million in revenue for that.
Wow, good for the Yankees.
And they're gonna use
Soto
they're gonna
money.
use it to take Soto from the Rays.
Soto money.
Yeah, still won't be worth it, Drew. It's okay.
It's okay. It can also be Teoscar Hernandez money. That's the new rumor,
I think
actually.
I feel like the
Fact.
Dodgers will resign.
I don't know why the Dodgers wouldn't re-sign
The
him.
Dodgers are gonna resign him.
Probably.
World Series guy. I think I'll get him.
To go back to the field real quick, it's obviously really sad for Tampa Bay fans. So I'll make them feel a little better by talking about a more sad situation. Drew, you be the best bet, dude. Have you seen Jerry Jones talking about the Dallas Cowboys? Oh my God, y'all. I'll be quick with this, but
I hate the Cowboys.
You'll love this then. So the Cowboys Stadium, Jerry's World, has this huge glare from the sun. That was intentional. Jerry Jones wanted there to be a horrible glare in the sun because his plan was his team would just win the coin flip and pick where to be, and the other team would have this whole glare and stuff. And so obviously, sometimes he doesn't win the coin flip. And then, so CeeDee Lamb wasn't able to see the ball. He had some pretty bad drops last week. This is what he said, all right? This is what, if y'all think he's not senile or still sane, this is a direct Jerry Jones quote when asked about the sun. Every team that comes in here has the same issues. They know where the sun is going to be. Every team has the same thing. The world knows where the sun is. We get to know that almost a year in advance. So someone asked me about the sun. What about the sun? Where's the moon? We're fine. But everybody plays in the sun out here.
Jerry Jones needs to go. Jerry
He's
Jones
crazy.
needs to go.
He's 6 months older than Joe
No,
Biden.
I think Jerry Jones should stay with the Cowboys as long as possible. I don't care if he's
Oh,
in
yeah,
the grave.
Yeah, no, yeah,
He
absolutely.
can still own the Cowboys.
Girl's gonna
Absolutely, yeah, no.
Such an idiot.
He's, oh my God, yeah, no.
Also,
it's one of the dumbest
that is
ideas.
Such a dumb idea. You're basically betting 50-50 on a coin flip every single game.
He said it's the
Right.
definition of
Teams are
home field
gonna
advantage.
Use that against you.
Yeah.
It's like the Dolphins stadium. Like they intentionally make their own players wear white, so the other team wears like their color jerseys, like the dark colors.
Oh, and it's
so
hot.
basically it's like 120 degrees on their sideline. On theirs, it's like 80.
Real
Yeah.
fast. Do y'all think if someone went rogue and just put curtains up in the stadium, would they get like fired? Do you think Jerry Jones would have someone fired for that, or do you think that they would just have curtains for the game and no one would
After
fucking
that
know?
comment, he'll
Like-
seem like an idiot.
I feel like he gets someone fired, but whatever. Yeah, we can talk about baseball now.
Okay, well, bringing it back to baseball, I have a question for y'all revolving this. Rob Manfred came out and said that after expanding the playoffs, he would actually look at expanding the league as a whole and maybe adding it to 32 teams. But first, he needed to fix the attendance issues of both the A's and the Rays. So the A's are now moving to Las Vegas, and the Rays are about to get their new stadium in 2028, which will, hopefully fix their attendance issue. Do you think that the MLB should be expanded? And like, if so, where do you think like the team should?
I think they should be expanded. But
the
first
Carolinas needed.
okay, the Carolinas, I do think need a team. We'll
Nashville.
probably just be like the Panthers, but it's okay for a few years. But
Nashville will
the
get one.
the one part that gets me very mad about that is the A's. That whole situation.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
How
That
funny.
owner legit.
How
you need
funny.
to take a look in the mirror, dude. You suck horribly. Oh my God.
We're sending this.
You're insanely stupid, dude.
We're
I mean, you
sending
give
this-
away what? Matt Olson,
Sean Murphy.
Chapman.
Starling
Yeah.
Marte.
They're the Braves minor. They're the Braves farm system.
Guys that
man.
got you a postseason appearance in 2020, and you say, "Oh no, we could do better with single A affiliate guys." Like, why?
There's some owners that are just like in it for the money,
You know-
and it happens sometimes.
Yeah, David
And
You know the A's
personally-
and all their money.
Personally, just as I
They
think
got 5K in the bank.
Yeah, bro.
just as I think Jerry Jones should stay owning the Cowboys for as long as possible, I think the A's should continue just throwing away their talent as long as possible, because I love any reason to just not get fifth place in the AL West. So great.
I will say this: when the Athletics go to LA or Las Vegas, my bad, they should change their name and they should add a team back to Oakland with new leadership and rename them the Athletics.
Well, I mean, the problem.
I really think
the
that
problem
the
is-
Browns did it in the '90s, so I don't see why they can't.
Are the
problem
Athletics
is there
changing
was
their name?
No attendance.
I think they should. They're not. But
No,
they
the
should.
Browns were like the Ravens. The Ravens were the Browns. Like Jim Brown is like in the Ravens stadium is like a legendary player and stuff.
Right. Yes, I'm just saying, are the Athletics planning on changing their name when they move
Yes.
to Las Vegas?
They
Yes.
should.
That guy should
Athletics is a horror. It's like the worst name in sports. They're the
I don't think
Athletics.
they're planning on it though. To answer your question.
Okay.
That's more vague
But I
than
mean,
football team.
it's not like they're blaming the owner. I do blame the owner, but like it's also the fans. They didn't show up, and they only showed up for like the last game of the season because it was the last
If your
game.
team was winning 40 games a year, 30 games a year,
I mean, yeah.
fans are not going to want to show up to watch their team get blasted 17-0 every single weekend and week out. They're not going to do that. So that's not even the fans' fault at all. That is like poor leadership by the Athletics. And seriously, that whole situation just makes me so mad because that's a historic team in baseball. I mean, literally, Ricky Henderson, what?
They're like second most
stole
World
like
Series or
80-something
whatever.
bases in one season. A lot of great moments with that entire team, and then to have it taken away from you because your team just sucks and your guy wants to move to Las Vegas. I mean, it's literally the Raiders
Like, what's
situation
gonna
all
change?
over again.
What's going to change in Las Vegas? Like, how is the ownership going to change? Like, what's going to?
It's a bigger market.
I mean,
It's
it's
more-
a bigger
it would be
market, so
different.
I'm
Would you
saying-
rather be in Oakland or Las Vegas?
Vegas, yeah.
Yeah, Vegas, there's already so many people that are obviously visiting Vegas every year because it's Las Vegas. So now that they're in Las Vegas, they're like, we might as well go see an athletics game while we're there. That's bringing in more ticket sales. We already saw that Oakland had, some of the lowest ticket sales, obviously, even before, they sold off
Las
all of their good
Vegas.
players. So I think, it's a money move. By moving the team to Las Vegas, they're selling more tickets, they're selling more merchandise when people come to the stadium. There's more traction with the stadium. That it's just making him more money. It's
Las
fine.
Vegas sports suck too. Literally, Andy Reid has the best winning percentage in their own stadium. By the way, they're a division rival. They're like literally the Andy Reid and the Chiefs have a better winning percentage in Las Vegas than their own coaches have had the past like 4 seasons.
Jackson,
I'm not joking.
you know what makes me mad?
What?
The idea of the MLB expanding to 32 teams.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Can I
that's
please?
a good one.
Okay, I know we're on this topic for a minute, y'all. So like the NFL pushes for parity. They've said now the schedule is different, but they've said for years they want to push every team to 8-8. That's the goal. They want to get stars spread out. the MLB doesn't have enough interesting talent to push for parity. Okay, you're not going to watch all 30 teams. The MLB's, and this is my biggest vendetta against the MLB, is their whole thing is let's push every star we can to the top 6 to 8 teams, televise and broadcast them all on national media, and just let all the bandwagon fans fill our pockets. And for 75% of MLB fans, it's just kind of a hopeless existence, just being a fan of your team. There's like 18, I feel like there's like 18 teams out there that just like, you kind of just every season, you're like, I guess I'll watch my guys. They're going to leave and go to a big team if they're any good. We're not really contenders, and it's hopeless for us. It's a sad.
There's not many teams with a true fan base now.
Exactly, because you have to be a fan of one of the top 6 or 8 teams, and there's no point in watching baseball. That's a dramatic, but so I think expanding. They should cut 12 teams. I feel like they should. Obviously, I don't really think.
12?
Obviously, I don't really think that, but I think the MLB would be more fun if it was like the SEC, like 14 teams. I think it would be a much more fun enterprise. But obviously, they should never do that. That'd be so complicated and weird, and that would piss a lot of people off. But expanding to more. That's just 2 more athletics and Royals. They should get rid of the athletics. Like they should, they shouldn't add. They would just. It's not like they're adding like a new Yankees and Dodgers. Like they're not going to be like that in 2 years. It's just going to dilute the. It's just going to make more farm systems for the top 6 teams.
Now, with them possibly adding 2 teams, where do you guys think they should go?
Nashville in the Carolinas.
Nashville.
Greenville, South Carolina.
I will say this right now, and
just
I know I'm going to sound crazy, but bring baseball back to Montreal. I want the Expos back.
I like that. Yeah, sure.
Let's bring
I don't hate it.
Let's bring
Or
the
do you know what
Expos
would,
back.
do you know what would be really cool?
Mexico City.
Mexico City.
That would be dope.
Wait, is that really? Is that a thing? I just.
No, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say Mexico City would be so cool.
I was kind of trolling. No, I think so too, though. For real.
In Mexico before they expand more into Canada, because Canada's probably a bigger market.
See,
Canada more
the only
baseball.
reason I don't want
Canada
expansion
would.
is because I'm pretty sure they would expand to like Nashville, like in the South,
Yeah.
and that would mean having to like redistrict like the divisions, and that would mean that we wouldn't be with the Mets and the Phillies. And I just
No, not necessarily.
Yes, it would because
That's-
it would be
no,
like
I
it'd be
see what
like
you're saying. I can
Phillies,
picture it.
Mets, it would be like just the Northeast teams, and it'd be like us, Nashville, Rays,
how
and
they
Marlins.
division.
Well, it's like
Marlins.
No, we have the Mariners, the A's, the Astros, the Rangers.
That's like the west part
Yeah.
of the country. Like there's a bunch of teams in the Northeast, so that would be a division, and then us in the South would be a division. And I don't want that because I like our rivalry.
I feel
Where's
like
Florida
divisions
on a map?
don't have to
What's it
have
look
the
like?
same amount of teams because, like in the '90s, 2000s,
Yes, they
anytime
do.
throughout baseball, a lot of divisions had like more teams than other ones. Like for example, I think the AL West at one point was like
One team.
6, 7 teams, something like that, and they got like transitioned down to 5. Like there has been like uneven divisions in baseball before. I don't think that should be a problem. But I will tell you this: if Carolina does get a baseball team, I'm not betraying the Braves. I'm a Braves fan.
I
leaving Carolina.
don't think it's a great idea to expand just because of what Kaden said. I mean, there's not enough in the market right now for there to be like 3 Oakland Athletics. Like
Exactly.
why
Yeah.
would
Like.
you
There's
do
like
that?
there's like 24 serious teams, I feel like, and then there's like 6 like random ones. Yeah, I don't know. I'm done. Yeah.
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 Well,
Okay.
you want to say something, or should we move on?
You can say the same thing about, of course, 3 athletics teams. Let's not forget the Marlins. They won a World Series 5 or 6 years after they were created. And that's like one of their only 2 World Series. So the Marlins won it in 6 years after becoming a team. So it could happen.
True.
Not really. It couldn't. That was one time.
Already.
Well, finally, on to our last 3 to see. We will highlight the newest player coming over to the MLB from Japan, Roki Sasaki.
This is a 23-year-old right-hander from the Chiba Lotte Marines
Where's he gonna go?
in the Japanese league.
Where's he gonna go?
Personally, I think he'll go to the Guardians.
Guardian.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, he
I
won't.
know. I believe it fits him the best and would be a great arms to the Guardians rotation. Yeah. And I also have some stats here. He has a lifetime 2.02 ERA, albeit in the Japanese league. That's like you're still against competition that's like up there.
Probably better than college.
He has 524 strikeouts and 91 walks in 414 and a quarter innings.
I mean, a lot of pro players, especially after they get kind of done with the MLB, sometimes go to Japan. And heck, Ohtani came from Japan.
No,
so, I mean,
there is a ton of talent.
there's a ton of talent over there.
They're doing great.
Yeah. Personally, I think he is going to end up with the Dodgers, but I think that's, kind of the obvious answer that everyone's going with. So I say if not the Dodgers, I would say I could see him going to the Padres. Yu Darvish is one of his mentors, so I could see that, playing a factor in him wanting to sign there. And honestly, maybe even the Mariners. They have a long history of, developing Japanese pitchers, so I could see him, kind of wanting to join in that legacy, and they also just have, a good reputation overall developing young pitchers. I really don't think the Mariners truly need him since he, can't be signed to a huge contract quite yet, which I think we'll get into in a minute. I could see them, just maybe them adding them to their rotation for this year just for a little bit of, cushion.
So I'll say the Dodgers taking him.
Yeah.
Just for the simple fact of Ohtani and is it Yamamoto?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Of course, obviously with Ohtani and Yamamoto going to the Dodgers, the Dodger market in Japan is probably really big right now because the two biggest stars are with that team. So for them to add a third guy over there, that could also mean opening up international games in Japan with the Dodgers. So that could be a big market boost for MLB.
Oh, I already went.
Okay, I think I agree with y'all. I would love to play devil's advocate, though, on the Dodgers take, because I do agree the market's probably huge. Everything y'all said I fully agree with and stuff, and that's one side of it. But like you said, the contract, he can't get a big deal because the MLB, I said this a little bit earlier, and I'll keep this as short as I can. The MLB is a monopoly. If you ever wanted to learn about a monopoly, just look at an American Pro Sports League. They're all monopolies and stuff, but they have to technically, legally not be a monopoly. And one way they do that is they have some rules with Japanese leagues and stuff. You got to play at least 6 years of foreign baseball or be 25 years old, or else you're technically an amateur. So he can only make a minor league contract. So basically, he could have played in Japan for 2 more years and then immediately signed a Yamamoto contract. But now he's going to be on arbitration until late in the 2020s. He's giving up a ton of money to come here. So I think the one reason he's doing that is for endorsement opportunities. So I think he's going to go where he thinks the market is best for him. So I think one way to look at it is like, hey, get a third Japanese player in LA, in the Dodgers and stuff, and that big three can all make money off each other, be in a big market. But I could see him being shadowed by Ohtani and Yamamoto, and I could see him wanting to be his own guy and wanting to bring, like, the Japanese market. If he goes to the Yankees, the Japanese market would then become, the Yankees would be bigger in Japan. The deals they would sign with Japan would be bigger and stuff. And it would be a new opportunity that he would be able to tap into a market that isn't as saturated as it is in LA. But I still think he'll go to the Dodgers, but I like that school of thought as well, too.
I really like that Yankees take, especially because the Yankees just got beat by the Dodgers in the World Series. If they go out and get an arm from Japan to counteract them, I feel like that would be so funny and have so many headlines. And also, you think about it, they could do like an international game between the Dodgers and Yankees.
Oh, my God, yeah.
That could be cool.
Roki strikes out Ohtani, win the World Series, man. Oh, man.
That would kill Drew.
At this
Kill me
at that
too.
Point, back-to-backs would hurt.
They're saying that if he wasn't falling under this international bonus pool stuff, their rules, he would be signing like a 10-year, $300 million contract.
I think I'd give him that.
He's in that range. He's that good to be in that range. And then with the whole international thing, there's only like 6-7 teams who have like a high enough budget to have him in their budget, and the Dodgers do have the most in their budget with $2.5 million. And I mean, I think them having this possibility to sign this guy so easily and then having all that money to go out and get another guy, I just think that's so annoying. But if they do get Sasaki, I feel like they're gonna direct away from pitching and go towards position players like Soto. So, yeah.
Yeah, I do like.
Getting Sasaki that easily can definitely change up some things.
Yeah, I do like your take with that. It's like the same 6 or 7 teams that have like that most international stock that always go get those guys.
Yeah.
It's like, a team like the Reds, like they're not going to go out and get an arm from that area, but like
He's
the Dodgers,
not going to make
Padres,
money in
Yankees,
Cincinnati.
Mets, they're going to go out.
At least not to the degree he would in New York, LA. Yeah.
Well, to wrap up the show, we are going to make our predictions for the end of the year awards, including Most Valuable Player, Rookie of the Year, Manager of the Year, and Cy Young. While we probably all have the same prediction, I've got to ask, who do y'all have winning the NL MVP? The finalists are Francisco Lindor, Shohei Ohtani, and Ketel Marte.
My marker doesn't work. I'll be
Mine
right
says
back.
that kid from Japan.
Check your marker.
Oh my goodness. Well, while Kaden gets his marker, we got to talk about Ohtani and the historic season he had. First off, he was the first player in history to ever have a 50-50 season, 50 home runs. I think he had 52 to be exact. Oh my gosh.
That would not work either.
And
I'm so sorry, you guys.
and 50
I'm just gonna.
stolen bases.
Kaden, you just use
I
mine.
promise we're professional.
I got it.
This is just
No, we're not.
This is just him.
Okay. The more we try to be professional, the more disingenuous it looks. Let's just do it.
Okay, any more to add about Ohtani, guys?
Disingenuous is not a word.
Clearly the best player in the NL by a long shot. So yeah, and I think the MVPs for both AL and NL are both very solid in who we're picking.
Yeah,
So.
and not to even knock Francisco Lindor, Ketel Marte, but they both had good seasons, but nowhere near MVP seasons. Francisco Lindor he had a 6.9 WAR, .273 batting average, 33 home runs, a 844 OPS, and Ketel Marte a little bit better, a 6.8 WAR, a 292 batting average, 36 home runs, and a 932 OPS. But you hear those numbers; they're good numbers, but it's nothing that wows you and really gives you MVP. So there's no question at all.
I mean, obviously it's going to be Ohtani, but the question is in the NL, is it going to be anonymous? And do y'all think it'll be anonymous?
Yes.
Yes.
I don't.
It should.
Oh.
I do not, because
Yes.
Lindor getting a vote?
Ohtani's a DH, and a DH has never won MVP before. A DH has never won MVP
Really?
before.
That's a
and
stingy
DH has
voter.
never been Shohei Ohtani.
I know
Yeah,
that's,
exactly,
that's
yeah.
true, but I mean, like, only winning an anonymous MVP while not playing the field would be extremely hard to do, especially with Francisco Lindor. I mean, he had that end of season surge that that put him on the radar for a finalist for MVP, but also he plays the field and he hits, so he does both, while Ohtani only hits. So he'll win MVP, but I don't think it'll be enough.
I mean,
He didn't stand on third base
The
and
only
catch
reason I
balls.
disagree with you on that is if you look at Shohei Ohtani's WAR, he has a 9.2 WAR.
Oh my
so
God.
it's making up for no field.
Yes, he has a
That's
9.2
true.
WAR. Francisco Lindor, even playing shortstop, has a 6.9 WAR, and Ketel Marte has a 6.8 WAR. So I've got to go with Ohtani, and I think it will be unanimous. I think it should be unanimous.
Listen,
I think it should be.
The thing that made Ohtani big coming into the league was him being like a two-way player, a pitcher and a batter. And the fact that he could win MVP just batting alone says a lot about him as a player, because he can win it, because he can win a Cy Young pitching and he can win an MVP batting. Yeah, I would give it. What did you write? I would give it to Ohtani 100%. He deserves it the most. I mean, he's literally hurt. We forget that he's a pitcher that's technically hurt right now, and he's a hurt guy blowing out other guys who are completely healthy in the season. So yeah, I would 100% say this is anonymous towards Ohtani.
Another argument I have is Ozuna should have been a finalist.
I was going to say that, yeah.
Yeah, I would
No,
say that.
he's-
I would say that.
Yeah, no, Ozuna's third. He was third in the betting odds at plus 7,500, which is a good bit over Marte and stuff. He was better than Marte this year. He batted 302 with 39 home runs, 104 RBIs. Like, talking about most valuable, he added more value to the Braves, I think, than Marte did.
Only reason the Braves-
there's two players that are the reason we made the playoffs. We'll talk about the other one in a minute. Yeah, don't you spoil that,
I'm not-
Jackson. Yeah, we'll talk about the other in a minute.
Y'all
But yeah,
don't know.
if Ozuna wasn't playing for us, we
beginning of the
we
season-
wouldn't be a free agent destination. We wouldn't have made the playoffs. Oh my God! Like it
thought we
was.
would've finished with the Marlins.
He saved us, dude. No, us and the Marlins, man. If we didn't have Ozuna,
Like,
he
especially
figured it
at the
out.
beginning of the season.
Yeah, he wasn't looking
I just
good.
think it says Ozuna DHs a lot of the time, right?
Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
DH.
Okay, then yeah, I think that's why he wasn't.
That's
I think
that's
also,
gonna be-
I think also what's holding back Ozuna is
How valuable is fielding? Like over replacement, I mean, I'm not talking about like we couldn't field, but like just think about like the most just insert random waiver wire bench players outfielding versus Ozuna's. Like, is he adding a ton, or like I know there's something to it, but I don't know if that should matter as much as it does. Yeah, or like a first
Ozuna's
baseman.
fielding is awful.
Like if Ohtani stood on first base, he'd be unanimous, but he didn't this year, so he's not unanimous. Like that's weird to me. Like that's I don't know.
I feel like what also killed Ozuna was his public image, because it goes more than just
Yep,
stats sometimes.
the media hates Ozuna.
The media literally
Why?
hates him. We're not going to get into that.
All right, Ben.
Something happened.
should watch
in
baseball.
2021, and then happened again.
Well, once again, I am sure this is not going to be a hotly debated topic, but the finalists for AL MVP are Aaron Judge, Juan Soto, and Bobby Witt Jr. Who do y'all have winning?
Y'all know.
What a surprise!
I'm not gonna name him my board just because I don't want to run him. I don't. I'm not going to give him any credit, but yeah, he won.
I just have some Judge versus Soto stats. I have .329 batting average compared to Soto's .302. 42 home runs as opposed to Soto's 30. 107 RBIs as opposed to
Arguably
Soto's
bad.
82, and 1.162 OPS as opposed to Soto's
all have those days.
1.017.
We all have
So,
those days.
I think that's just Judge deserves it more than Soto does. Overall, better season.
No, I agree. Yes, Judge 100% deserves it over Juan Soto. But I do think Juan Soto and Bobby Witt Jr. still did have great seasons, and they deserve to be highlighted. You mentioned, some of Juan Soto's stats, but Bobby Witt, he had a, 9.4 WAR, 32 home runs, a 332 batting
9.4?
average. Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah. 332 batting average and a 977 OPS. So he still had a really good season, and I definitely think, obviously he's not AL MVP, Judge is in the picture, but I think he still had a great season, and it really deserves to be highlighted, and it definitely is what drove, the Royals to be able to, make a postseason run, which they were not expected to do.
So I did end up actually writing something down on my board for Judge. I wrote a groundhog because he is great when it comes to winter weather.
I love
But
this.
once it
Hey.
gets to winter, he's asleep.
Wow.
He is cold. October, he gets cold. And by cold, I mean, he's in the ground for a while.
Can I talk to Aaron Judge real quick? He'll watch this.
Yes,
Let him
Yeah.
get it.
So
Whatever,
Judge,
Ben Rice will
no.
Ben Rice will give it to Judge.
All I want to say, Judge. All right, Aaron. I don't know if we're on the first name, but probably not. All I want to say, Judge, is like you absolutely deserve this award based on the criteria of the award, but like. You can't be all hyped accepting this. Like you can't walk up to the stage like, let's go, I'm the MVP. Like, nah, no one's ever like a lot of people get awards and they're like, it's dumb I did this, it's all about the team, and it's like all cliche. He's the one guy that has to say that. Like he has to say like I'm a little disappointed by this MVP. Obviously I wanted postseason success. Like if he comes up, he's like, yeah man, I was happy to earn this, like hard work pays off, guys. Like, oh dude, he cannot say that right now. Like he deserves the award, but it's kinda like Lamar Jackson's MVP. I think it was Lamar's MVP last year, where it's like it's a little anticlimactic. Like it's like so disappointing in the playoffs. But no, it's a regular season award, and he deserves it.
I was gonna say Judge's postseason is gonna overshadow this MVP.
Absolutely.
Horrid.
But I mean,
Horrid.
but he was okay. If we were to go an MVP of the league, like NBA and NFL, it's Judge because he cleared Ohtani in every single stat.
I disagree.
I feel like if you did, if you
it's
did
Scooball.
that,
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
I feel like if you did like
We're talking about best versus most valuable. That's like the age-old question of the MVP, though. Is like I think Judge is better, but I think Scooball was more valuable to his team.
I feel like if you did all season, like an all-around guy, I feel like you have to factor in postseason for that. And Ohtani did have a slightly better postseason than Judge, so I think overall, I think Ohtani would.
I mean, yeah.
I think
but
Scooball had a way
awards-
better postseason than both of them.
These awards don't take into postseason.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Just saying.
And they should.
I feel like though, if you did an all-around guy, especially at the end of the season, after the whole season is over with, I think you've got to factor in postseason. I think it's ridiculous that we still don't.
I don't think you should. I feel like we'd be so recency biased. Like I feel like I don't know. You know what I think they could do? They could do voting before the playoffs and then do voting again after the playoffs and tally it up total. I just think one collective vote after the playoffs, factoring the postseason. Like when would a non-World Series player ever win the MVP? I feel like they never would. Like I don't know. I feel like the recency bias is too strong for us to do that.
Ohtani would.
Yeah. You win the World Series.
Well, now moving on to Cy Young predictions, which are hopefully a bit more controversial. The finalists for the NL
Hopefully
Cy Young
not.
are Chris Sale, Zach Wheeler, and Paul Skeens. What are y'all's predictions?
You're a contrarian, Drew.
Give me a wheeling and dealing.
Braves
So
went
weird.
sailing this year, okay?
This
We
is
went
so
sailing.
weird.
Can I back it up?
Make your case. Make your case. Make your case.
Okay.
Please try this.
All right, I got a lot here. I got more innings pitched than Sale. Led the league in .96 WHIP.
Y'all,
Okay.
That's it.
Maybe
Whip.
Guys, that's
Oh,
it.
is this reliever of the year? We're talking about whip.
Finished
Oh my
with
gosh.
only one fewer strikeout than Sale. Led the NL with 26 quality starts, most out of any pitcher in the NL. Had the best opponent batting average, on base percentage, and slugging percentage in the whole league. Overall, it will be really close, and it can go either way.
Drew, whose rotation would you say is better, the Braves or Phillies? There you go. That's why Sale should win.
Okay. That's not that. It's individual awards though. He has the better opponent batting average, the on base percentage is better, and
What's
the
his
slugging percentage.
ERA?
Sale should be anonymous, but some weirdos are going to be voting for Wheeler.
Wheeler.
Also, Skeens.
Not gonna be
Sale is a comeback.
Sale tops
Skeens will get
Wheeler
voted.
in more wins, lower ERA, more strikeouts, less homers. Wheeler gave up 20 versus Sales 9 and less walks.
We're talking like wins and earned runs allowed versus like whip.
Like,
this is yeah.
I never bring up
Soto had more doubles than Aaron Judge, and
I would say.
I never bring up
sure,
whip
you know it
in
is.
an argument.
no,
You'd be
you
that guy to call it cool whip.
cool quick.
No, I mean, I feel like whip could be a good argument.
For relievers,
You know,
maybe.
A good argument. Okay.
because you know, wins are there's so many factors that
That's
go
very
into
true.
a win. That's not just the pitcher. And whip, you know, obviously there's factors that go in it too. That's not just the pitcher. Like hits wise, it's like someone can make a really great play. You could have a great defense, and your whip would just, you know, generally be lower. But for the most part, whip is pretty independent on pitching. So I wouldn't make the argument that it's a bad stat to use.
I feel
You don't
I feel
believe
like-
this.
That's the only
Yeah,
stat.
it's only
I
six
I have 3 more stats.
You don't believe this. You don't
Yes,
believe
I
this.
do.
You were beforehand. You were looking at this panel. You were looking at this panel.
No.
Do you really think he'd win? He has put money on it.
Listen, I'll say this.
You were like,
money on
I'm on a
every
panel with 3 Braves fans. Everyone's gonna be so on sale. I'm picking against this guy.
I will
Then
say
we won't
this.
talk about sale. We'll talk about
No,
my guy.
I think
Yeah,
Wheeler
yeah.
has a chance and will win.
I'll say this.
$150
right now, Wheeler.
sale wins.
No.
$5 sale wins.
No, I literally said it can go either way. I just think Wheeler can pull up an upset because there's always an upset in at least
All right, I respect picking against it.
Jackson, what do you
please
have?
speak.
Okay, I will say this with Wheeler. Wheeler, the name in front of him in the rotation and the name behind him puts the same amount of impact as Wheeler does on the rest of the team. Sale carried the Braves along with Ozuna the entire year. When you talked about the Braves pitching, you didn't talk about any of those other guys because, well, they were kind of sad. But still good.
Hey, Lopez.
Still good, but
Strider got hurt.
Strider
was
yeah,
good.
Strider's dead.
Lopez was great.
Yeah,
Strider was a great pitcher.
Sale,
We'll miss him.
if we're really impacting Cy Young, we got to think about the guy's impact, not just on his numbers, but the team. Wheeler was just another guy in the rotation with an already stacked rotation. Sale was one of the last hopes for the Braves, and he carried us so far this entire season. No one expected Sale to do as good as he did. If anything, I think Sale's obviously going to win Comeback Player of the Year, and he should win the Cy Young. Wheeler, great impact. But when it comes down to bottom line of your impact on your own team, Sale had a way bigger impact than Wheeler ever did.
Phillies
Jackson.
had like three all-star starting pitchers on the game team.
What does MVP stand for?
Most
Most valuable player. Sale added more value to the Braves than Wheeler.
Okay.
That's a good one.
That's it.
Okay, well, on the AL side, the finalists are Emmanuel Clase, Seth Lugo, and Tyreek Skubal. Thoughts?
Fix that.
I don't have an eraser.
Okay, well,
Well,
I think we all know who we chose.
I think we all know, yeah.
This dude's in a completely different world over there.
Caden loves this guy.
I love him, y'all. Oh my gosh. I'm not biased at all, but oh my god, I love him on a personal level. Screwball,
Yeah.
screwball.
He's a good guy for the Tigers.
I misspelled
He's their
screwball.
one shining example.
He's their most valuable player.
Yeah, no, like I said earlier, if you could give out one award and it was just MVP, I think it should go to Skubal. Because I think he added more. I think he elevated the Tigers more than any player elevated any team. He's more. I think the Yankees could have missed the playoffs without Judge. I think the Yankees had a much better chance of still making it to the playoffs, and then in the playoffs they would have the exact same experiences.
I wouldn't say they,
Because Judge
I wouldn't say
do
they have a
anything.
much better chance, but yes, I think they still would.
Like, I think if the Yankees didn't have Judge, they would have still made the playoffs, and then Judge didn't add any value in the playoffs, so it would have been probably the exact same experience. If the Tigers didn't have Skubal, they would have won maybe one game, gone 1-161, and then folded as a franchise.
Honestly, they
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
I-
he saved them.
I do.
It's like the
I
little
do
Giants.
see what you were saying, just based off of how much how he really led the Tigers to being able to make the postseason. But if you do look at his WAR, it is 6.3, where we have Aaron Judge, who had like 10.8 or something, if I remember correctly, which is
The Tigers needed those wins a lot more than
Oh yeah.
But I
No,
know- I know
I
what you
agree
mean.
with what your point, but I don't think by MVP criteria he should win overall
I like
MVP.
the take.
Yeah. I think we all have different interpretations of the award and stuff.
I'm
And I think we all evaluate the players the same way, interpret the award differently, which is
Yeah.
a fascinating thing about these awards.
No, but by all means, Skubal was absolutely nasty this year. Definitely one of the most, dominant pitchers in the league. He had 228 strikeouts in 198 innings, which just shows that he was generating, lots of swings and misses. His stuff was nasty, which, going to stats to show how good pitchers are. Your strikeouts, that is completely, that doesn't have anything to do with how good your defense is. That is solely on you. So I think that really shows how dominant of a pitcher he is his strikeout percentage.
I think we got to move on.
Yeah.
Move on, okay.
Let's go on.
Well, we're going to move on to Rookie of the Year. So the finalists for the National League Rookie of the Year are Jackson Chorio, Jackson Merrill, and Paul Skeens. And yes, you heard that right. Skeens is a finalist for both NL Rookie of the Year and NL Cy Young. And so Skeens is now one of only 5 pitchers to ever accomplish this feat. So,
Can I spell it right?
yeah,
Yeah.
look who we chose. I chose Skeens too. I just didn't have
Out
that right.
of every player in professional baseball, the most important player to any team that had the most impact on, good Lord, if they're actually good or not, is their hope. It's Paul Skeens.
Yeah.
Paul
We
Skeens
just said it was Scuba.
carried. Paul Skeens.
This would have been a perfect segue. We could have just
Yeah, that would.
Yeah, that would have been a good one. But Paul Skeens carried the crap out of the Pirates. I mean, that team is sad. Paul Skeens is like the only hope in that
He is
locker
happy.
room. He literally is the best player. Not mentioned, he's also winning off the field. We'll get into that later. Or never, actually. But
I'll get into that in a second. That's all I have on him. Yeah.
But yeah, he is an extremely good player, and the fact that he left the minors, a year, not even a year later, he was out of the minors, and now he's already up for NL Rookie of the Year. What
Yeah.
he's done for the Pirates alone, and just overall his impact of making an All-Star game in his first year, this guy's gonna be special.
Yeah, he was the 5th rookie pitcher to make the All-Star game, first to be selected to the All-Star game this season after being drafted, and then first rookie to start the All-Star game in 30 years. But he also accumulated an 11-3 record, and that's 11 wins while pitching for the Pirates, who in his 21 starts, they scored 2 or fewer runs in 7 of those starts and only 1 run in 5 of those starts. And he still managed to get 11 wins. That's crazy.
Yeah, no, he had a 1.96 ERA throughout of all of that, and that's the second lowest for a rookie ever that made 20 or more starts.
He's won it off the field too. Like we were talking about. I mean, he just had a better run, man. He won a national championship with LSU, started dating Livy Dunn, got drafted to the MLB, and then it just immediately came easy to him, and he's about to be Rookie of the Year. He's
He's winning.
He's winning.
winning all
The last
areas
2
of
years,
life.
he's having the best 2 years ever. That's sick. It's so cool. I'm so proud of him, man. It's so
every
cool.
episode, but mentality is such a big thing.
Livy Dunn is why he's good. Absolutely. I agree with you, Drew. For sure.
Honestly, if they break up, yeah, he could probably slump, honestly.
Yeah, he's out.
Will Levis would be Josh Allen if he didn't get broken up with. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't believe that. Yeah, if Will Levis watching this is yeah, for sure.
Oh my God.
Okay, well, now for the AL, which is debatedly the tightest race of the postseason awards. The finalists are Colton Cowser, Luis Heel, and Austin Wells.
Give me heel.
I'm surprised you didn't put Wells.
Way.
I have Cowser.
I mean, okay, I have Heel. I don't have much to say about this because I don't keep up with AL rookies. But all I
don't
have,
either.
all
Or
I-
Yankees players.
Oh, no, I
Or
really,
ALs in general.
the AL
Or
in
Mets
general-
stats. Remember that
The
too.
AL in general,
Oh, no,
I
she
just
keeps
kind of
up
like.
with stats.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, me too. Right, I forgot AL Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so yeah, we don't really. I don't really pay much attention to this, but all I see is he has a 15-6 record with a 3.27 ERA as a rookie. That's pretty good. I don't know about the other dudes, but go Heel.
I couldn't.
Yeah,
tell you
well,
that
the
ethnicity.
reason I chose Cowser is because, he had Cowser, and I think they all had, pretty average rookie seasons. They were good rookie seasons. Nothing, I think, truly, outstanding from all of them that, fully wows you. But I ended up choosing Cowser over Wells. He had slightly better numbers overall, 242 batting average, 24 home runs. But what really stood out to me is that he was second in outs above average for the entire league in left field. And, given left field, you usually, put your least talented fielder in left field. So it's not as impressive as if he was second in outs above average in center field. But I still think that's a very impressive stat that really, elevates his campaign for this AL Rookie of the Year award.
I will say this AL rookie selection, ugh. I have literally only heard of one of these guys, and just because he was on the Yankees roster in the World Series, and I thought, oh, he's a bad player because he did nothing the entire World Series. So I had no idea this guy was an AL Rookie of the Year. Congrats to him. Your stats aren't even the best of the rookies, but looking back on it, I think Cowser, that's his name.
Cowers.
Yeah.
Cowser.
I
Cowser.
think he
Why
had
did I try to talk?
had the best stats, but
That was a bad
listen here. The stats still aren't that fantastic. He had, in the regular season this year, he had a .2 average, a .321 OBP, an OPS of .768, 24 home runs, and 121 hits.
I pick him.
Yeah, he also only had 9 stolen bases. His stats are probably the best out of the AL rookies this year. That is also not saying a lot because he can't. Because let's be real,
It's not that impressive.
the AL, the only guy we heard of, if you watched the postseason, was of course Austin Wells, and that was only because he was on the Yankees team. The NL rookies, I mean Jackson Chourio, Jackson Merrill, and then Paul Skeens, the phenom that is probably going to win the NL Rookie of the Year. All those other guys you consistently talked about because they were actually producing for their team.
Yeah, the top 5 NL Rookie of the Years would win.
And they're
the
all
AL
over
Rookie
the
of the Year.
media.
Yeah.
Yes.
These guys are
yeah,
all over
the AL Rookies of the Year. Good Lord, I had not heard of 2 of these guys. I didn't even know this guy existed until now. So,
We're very knowledgeable.
I couldn't tell you
Yeah.
the teams they play on, except or their ethnicities or their
Yankees
heights.
or
Orioles.
Or, yeah.
I would
idea.
say this with Kowser especially. He's on with Kowser and Wells. They're both on the Orioles and the Yankees. So there's a lot more talent on those teams that, of course, overshoot them, and you don't hear about their names a lot because Orioles have guys like Gunnar Henderson, Corbin Burns at one point, obviously, and Jackson Dart. All of those names kind of overshadow their rookies this year because Jackson Dart, thank God, he's not in the Rookie of the Year race because that's rough. But
Is Jackson Dart not the Ole Miss quarterback?
oh, I got the wrong one.
There's a lot of
Hey,
Jackson.
who are you talking about?
Wait,
I was like, wait, that name sounds familiar because of the Ole Miss Georgia game. I was like, wait, I've heard that.
Oh,
There's too many
By the way,
Jacksons.
Riley had
Alright.
a great weekend last weekend.
The
But,
Hawks lost, UGA lost, and the Falcons lost.
Let's stay on task, right?
Okay, besides my
I'm just like kind
okay,
of like.
besides my blunder of Ole Miss and Orioles players.
Who
Baltimore.
are you talking about?
Okay, I meant to say Jackson Holiday, but Jackson Dart's in my mind just because he beat Georgia.
Oh.
Jackson Cash,
Yeah. Don't you dare.
You got mad.
But yeah, seriously, I think Kowser, out of all of them, he had the best stats out of the rookies, so he deserves it. Stop laughing at me. But AL rookies, sad. NL rookies of the year, bright stars in the future.
Completely agree.
AL rookies.
All right, manager of the year.
Okay.
Oh my
How
God.
did it go? Really quick.
really quickly, short and sweet. I feel like the situation Hill was thrown into, you had Carlos Rodon, Garrett Cole, Clark Schmidt, and then it was question marks. Hill was the person that came into that position and was the answer to the Yankees' problems. They didn't have a 4 or a 5. They were uncertain, and I believe his impact makes him Rookie of the Year.
Okay, I like that. Okay, and finally, we are going to talk about Manager of the Year. The NL finalists are the Mets manager, Carlos Mendoza, the Brewers manager, Pat Murphy, and the Padres manager, Mike Schilt. So, who does everyone have?
Murphy.
We need to go one by one because we got like controversy.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, we all got different ones, I think. Way
Yeah.
different.
What you
Oh,
doing?
I
I
mean,
can't go.
I don't know, y'all. I guess Murphy. I mean, I spent a lot of time on AJ Hinch, but like, so.
Oh, okay, save that then.
Yeah,
Okay.
can I talk more in the next one?
I
Less in this
have
one?
I have Mendoza with the Mets. I have to give the Mets credit. They started 0-5 and then went from being 11 games under 500 to having the best record from June 1st till the end of the season. So you have to give him credit for that. He led this team to an NLCS appearance after very disappointing 75 and 87 fourth place finish in the National League East. So I mean, going from that to the National Championship Series, it deserves some credit. I'll say that. That's it.
I'll talk a little bit about Schilt because that is who is on my board. Honestly, I don't think Schilt's gonna really win, but
I love
I just want him to
So
be.
you pick him.
I want him to be acknowledged because of he's been able to keep this Padres team informed throughout the whole season, and they came very close against the Dodgers in the postseason. I mean, competing against that team, I mean, just it should be acknowledged, and
good.
it's a great.
I'm going with,
It's like, okay, that's good.
I am going with Murphy. Last season, the Brewers, they traded away Corbin Byrne, and they lost their former manager, Craig Counsell. So I think everyone kind of had low expectations for the Brewers, but, Pat Murphy was able to come in and, really turn that around. They were expected to lose 15 more games than they did, which I think is a very impressive feat, and he led the team to the playoffs. So for that, I chose Murphy.
I'm going to go Mets-Doza. I put the Mets.
Wow.
So shut up, Kaden. Okay, so I did that. Obviously, the Mets had probably one of the most horrible seasons in recent Mets memory just because of the expectations they had and how much they sunk like the Titanic in like 3 hours. So, yes, the Mets turnaround was incredible this year, having one of the worst records in baseball. So I know he's going to put something stupid. But basically, the Mets had one of the worst records in baseball heading, into like, June, May or something like that. And then the complete turnaround that this team has made, which yet alone is an insane accomplishment by Mendoza. But making it all the way to the NLCS on top of that adds so much more to the character of this man and his ability to take a team that has the potential but struggles to making it almost all the way, basically losing to a super team that everyone thought was going to win it initially. So I think out of any impact on the team, I mean, the rest of these guys had great impacts, but for one, the Padres were still a playoff team regardless of, they were a playoff team last year, the year before that. The Padres are consistent playoff teams. The Brewers got knocked out in the wild card. Their impact still wasn't that much, and the NL Central is horrid. The NL East is a tad bit more competitive, but just because the Braves were basically dead this year. So, yeah, considering that Mendoza did a lot more in a more complicated division with the top three basically choking themselves out to death. So, yeah, his accomplishments this offseason, this postseason, and all season long, he definitely deserves this Manager of the Year.
Also with the Brewers, sorry, I just wanted to say they had back-to-back 90-win seasons, so I don't see anything like, wow, Manager of the Year thing.
Okay, well, on the AL side, the finalists are Tigers manager A.J. Hinch, the Royals manager Matt Quattrero, and the Guardians manager Stephen Vogt.
I have Royals manager Matt Quattrero.
I love it.
Because the Royals in 2023 they had a 56-106 record, and they bounced back from that and went 86-76 and made their first postseason appearance since 2015. That winning 30 more games in the last season is absolutely insane. So I feel like that definitely should give credit. I also want to give credit to former Brave Stephen Vogt for this nomination. But yeah, he had it was his rookie manager season, and he had 92 wins and an NLCS appearance in his rookie season.
No,
for him.
I agree with everything you said. I also chose Matt. We are on a first-name basis just because his last name is hard to say, and I've already said it once.
It's Contario.
No, it's not.
No,
like JD or Biez.
That was good. Let's stay on topic, guys.
That was wild.
Stay on topic, Kaden.
Okay. Well, anyways, and I agree with you for all of those reasons. I also wanted to highlight Vogt. They are both first-time managers, him and Matt, and they both, led their teams to do more than they were expected after, having disappointing finishes to last season. But I just think overall, Quattrero had the bigger impact on the Royals, and he was literally, as Riley said, able to lead them from a 56-106 season to making it to the playoffs, which is insane.
Okay.
He has it too.
We picked
So we both picked AJ.
AJ Hinch.
I'll let you go first.
Over.
I don't think I'm.
This is a Tigers team nobody on this panel saw even probably in the playoffs.
They were second in the division last year.
Did you see them in the playoffs?
No, but they're creeping up there.
Wow.
They're coming.
Anyways, this is the first time in 10 years they've been in the playoffs, and they upset the Astros, which is a crazy feat. No one
Doesn't take into
Sorry,
postseason.
I figured Katie was going to do it.
Awards don't take into postseason.
but
Keep going.
Jackson.
Okay, I'll just say this, obviously.
after.
Stephen Vaught, the Guardians were already probably the most likely to win the division this year, so I don't think you can't. Obviously, it's the same situation with the Brewers. Brewers won it last year. Same thing with the Guardians. There's not much improvement if you're still top in the division. And you still get knocked out in the championship series, don't win a World Series. So I'll get to that later, though, because the Guardians already had their pieces already together. The Royals were building a team. This has been years in the making for the Royals. They have been building a team consistently with a lot of younger guys. One of their older guys, of course, Salvi Perez, still a pretty big name for their team. And of course, for the Royals?
You'll never know.
Who is it?
Who's what for the Royals?
No,
Bobby Witt.
Yeah, Bobby Witt.
You didn't know that name?
I knew the name. I just lost it.
I knew it the second
I
you
just
said his
lost
fingers.
it.
I just want to say.
Okay, I lost Bobby Witt at the end there, but I think the Royals turnaround was something that you could have seen, but the Tigers, I think AJ Hinch deserves it at most. The Tigers a few years ago, let's not remember, the Tigers had the worst record in baseball and regarded the worst team in history, obviously up until
The White Sox now.
the White Sox this season. So from going from considered like 2 or 4 years ago the worst ever team in baseball to 3 years later making the playoffs, I think is a very big accomplishment. And I mean, basically after of course Cabrera left, they were like, oh wow, we're not going anywhere. And then Screwball comes in and absolutely changes that entire team's projection the entire season. So yes, you could definitely put. Obviously, Screwball holding the Tigers on their back. Screwball carried the Tigers to postseason. But in reality, I think the Royals have better pieces than the Tigers do. The Tigers, outside of Screwball, you guys don't know their names. Besides what, Javi Baez?
JV or BS?
Xavier Diaz, but yes, I know what you mean.
Yeah, Xavier Baez. You don't know the Tigers' names, and that's the thing. You know the guys, you know some of the names on the Royals. You don't know anyone else on the Tigers except for Screwball because his impact was so big. And the fact that he took a team that struggles traditionally and managed to turn them into a playoff team regardless, I think is very good.
I can do this next week. This has been a long episode. I do not want to condense what I have to say. I don't think there's a big difference between an hour 10 minutes and an hour 13 minutes, so I don't care. That's totally up to y'all. I really don't care.
Can you show your whiteboard?
It says arrest AJ. Yes, it does. Genuinely, I do want to talk about it next week if we do, and I will not condense it. But like, that's totally up to y'all. I don't care. Take a quick vote, whatever you want to
Let's
do.
do it.
What are
Let's do it.
What are we doing?
So I prepared a speech.
No problem.
We're an hour and
AJ Hinch?
we're an hour and 10 minutes in, and I prepared a speech. Less than what Jackson
We're
said.
already
honestly.
an hour 10 minutes in.
Why not be
Hey, let's ask production.
Hey.
Should we do it?
Yes!
All right.
You got the go-ahead.
Okay. If y'all heard of the Bill James Hall of Fame monitor, it's a monitor to guess if a player deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Okay, it takes their stats and accolades and it gives them a point value to determine, hey, should this player be a Hall of Famer? Should this player be a Hall of Famer? You know who's first on that monitor? So the most deserving of the Hall of Fame. If the Hall of Fame was one player, okay, you know who it would be? I would love y'all to take a guess real fast. Does anyone have any guess? If the Hall of Fame was one player, according to this metric, just on stats and accolades, who would it be?
MLB?
Babe Ruth? It would be Barry Bonds.
I was gonna say.
Okay, if it was two players, it'd be Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, okay? They are not in the Hall of Fame because they cheated, okay? All right, because obviously. Now, we don't have to talk about whether they deserve to be or not, okay? But
I don't like this speech.
baseball,
Maybe I should rethink this.
baseball does not accept.
That is something.
A little bit. Baseball does not honor Aaron Judge or Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens as Hall of Famers because they don't want to set a precedent that you can take steroids and then therefore your legacy will be the exact same. Okay? Because if they put them in, then young people can say, hey, if I take steroids, my legacy is the same. I'll still go down famous in baseball, and people forget about it. So I think it does a lot towards steroid prevention, keeping them out of the Hall of Fame because it shows, hey, baseball does not tolerate this and it hurts your legacy. You know what's a lot worse way to cheat is what AJ Hinch did because I think the reason owners spend money, the reason managers set lineups and players swing their bats and throw pitches is to win a championship, okay? Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens tampered with that process, but AJ Hinch tampered with the result. We're in exam week, all right? It's kind of like Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, basically, they took Adderall to prepare for the exam better. AJ Hinch just logged onto the professor's portal and changed his grade, okay? He changed the final result and the end of it, okay? And what baseball is doing right now is they're setting a precedent that if you cheat, it doesn't really matter. You can do whatever you want to do. If I became a manager right now, I would go out and I'd find a way to cheat because I know what's going to happen is even if I get caught, I'll keep my accolades, I'll keep my awards, I'll keep my fandom. I can just go to a new team, and if I do good, then I'll get a manager of the year thing. They don't care. It doesn't matter. So if you're going to set a precedent that players can't cheat, you should also set a precedent that managers can't cheat. So yeah, AJ Hinch should not be in the Major League Baseball, and he absolutely should not be manager of the year.
He has a
I'll
point.
just say this about AJ Hinch and cheating. It makes it more sad that they lost the Nationals. They still did. You're arguing. Barry Bonds won things, and so did most. The entire Barry Bonds era is called the steroid era.
Yeah, I think they should be in the Hall of Fame too. No, that's actually
guys
this is
in
getting
the
more
league that
complicated.
did not use steroids. So to use the Barry Bonds evidence, Yes, but even after steroids, Barry Bonds still had great numbers.
They wrongly made an example out of those two players. My speech originally had a lot more about them, but I cut that
They,
out.
of course, obviously they used them as an example, but we also got to think about that. Tatis also did steroids as well. So that could also tarnish his reputation as well. If we're taking into effect that A.J. Hinch cheated at one point, it still didn't get him to win. And honestly, it looks even more sad and pathetic that they lost the Nationals. I'm so sorry, Katie. But, yet again, he cheated and still didn't win. Like, let's be real. Half of the league has probably cheated at some point this season, if not. Cheating happens
I think
all
the
the
Braves
time
cheated
in
last
baseball.
season.
Oh, we 100% did.
I think we did.
Cheating happens all the time in baseball. It's what you do to get caught that changes that. Barry Bonds was hated when he was a player because he was caught using steroids. No one liked him initially. If you weren't a Giants fan, you still didn't like Barry Bonds when he was on the Giants.
Yeah.
So, yet again, just because he uses steroids, that gives us a cause. Everyone hates him. We can now put him in the dirt.
If A.J. Hinch rigged this award and won because he just rigged the vote, it wouldn't be anywhere near the most corrupt thing he's done in baseball. It's just, yeah.
Well, before my feelings get hurt
He
anymore.
does have a point. I understand what he's saying.
I do.
I
get
see
it,
the
though.
point
I see
too.
it.
Sorry.
Well, before my feelings get hurt anymore, and before we have another speech, I think we had, 2 speeches there between Kaden
Does
and
anybody have to remember who hit the walk-off for the
Okay.
Nationals?
Hey, guys, I am,
I have 10 more opinions to give.
We're going to 2 hours.
Just roll. Just roll.
On
Just stop
today's
the
episode of
video.
Touching All Bases, we've covered all the key moments from off-season from around the league and to our end of the season award predictions. As always, a huge thank you to our producer Connor and of course to all of our viewers. Make sure to tune in next week for more updates on the MLB offseason and even a preview of the upcoming college season. Woo!
Let's cut that into 2 episodes.